Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing Star Wars Ahsoka Part 7, Dreams of Madness, which was written by Dave Filoni and directed by Geta Vasant Patel, and was released on September 26, 2023, which I thought was an alright episode. My favorite stuff was just getting more of Thrawn and Ezra. I've loved Amon Esfandi as Ezra so far. I think he just captures the character so well, which one thing with Ezra, I was kind of expecting him to be maybe a little more broken, a lot like Sabine has been throughout the series, but so far he's just been normal Ezra, like he hasn't been stranded on this planet for almost a decade. So I've enjoyed that about Ezra so far in this series, which is a very Ezra thing. So yeah, but we also do get some action scenes with him, which I liked how he doesn't accept his old lightsaber, which Sabine has been using, and he tells her it's hers now. But instead we see him just use the Force in hand-to-hand combat, which I liked the concept of that. I will say the action in this episode I thought was a little weak, mainly because most of the characters are kind of fighting at the same time, but in slightly different locations, and so there just was a lot of cutting back and forth, just too much, which, action scenes for me, the more cutting there is, the worse they become, and definitely when it's just consistently happening over and over again. So I thought it took away from a lot of the action, which the second half of the episode is mostly those action scenes, so that kind of took the episode down for me a decent bit. But like I said earlier, I also really liked Thrawn. Once again, we don't get a crazy amount of him, but we do see him strategizing a little more, just more in his element, but not fully in his element. But, I still liked the little bit we got of him in his element. So yeah, but one moment I liked was at the very start of the episode, where we see on Coruscant, as Hera is having a hearing about everything, what happened on Cetos and whatnot with Mon Mothma and Senator Ziono and a couple other people, which I guess there's a Mon Calamari there, which I guess is Admiral Akbar, but he doesn't speak at all, so we, there really is no way of knowing that it was him, but there was, stuff released online saying that was him, in the, I think on the StarWars.com, data bank thingy. But, during this hearing, Hera's, trying to defend herself, but, it isn't really working until C-3PO shows up with a message from Leia saying that she authorized Hera's mission to Cetos. And, when she authorized it, she didn't know that Mothma and Ziono turned it down, which we see Ziono protest that, saying, they can't take evidence from a droid, which, earlier we saw Carson Teva and Chopper come in, and they're just kind of sitting in the background, and in this moment when Ziono says that, Chopper gets very upset over that, and then Carson kind of holds him back, which was a very funny image. It just was funny seeing just a human character have to hold back a droid character, or like an astromech droid character. But Mothma thinks the evidence 3PO revealed is good enough, and so they drop the charges on Hera and whatnot. But afterwards, Mothma speaks with Hera privately, saying she knows Leia didn't authorize the mission, but is obviously on Hera's side and whatnot, and asks how real the threat of Thrawn returning is, which Hera tells her they have to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, which I like that line. But I also just really like this opening scene. Obviously 3PO showing up was fun. Obviously it is something that's a little more fan servicey, but I thought it was well done and worked well within the story and whatnot. But I also like getting a in the flesh scene with Mothma and Ziono, which throughout the series I just was kind of expecting them to just be that one hologram scene, but it was nice to kind of get them in a scene like this where they're actually interacting with the other characters and whatnot. I will say I do wish we kind of got a little more from the New Republic political stuff, just really just throughout the series. Obviously we got a little bit of it in The Mandalorian season 3, but I just kind of want more of it. Obviously though, with like stuff like Andor, which kind of does that stuff extremely well, and I just know if this series does like stuff more like that, it just won't be as good as Andor does with political stuff. So there's that. So I guess maybe I'm fine that they didn't do as much political stuff there. But obviously, comparing this series to Andor, Andor's just obviously way better. But anyways, I still enjoyed that opening scene and whatnot. But after that, we do see Ahsoka and Huyang still traveling inside the Purrgil, which we see Ahsoka practicing lightsaber moves while watching a hologram lesson from Anakin. Then Huyang comes in and they, speak a little bit about Anakin and whatnot. But Huyang mentions that it seems like the Purrgil will be exiting hyperspace soon, so they get to the cockpit and, come up with a plan. And then the Purrgil exit hyperspace. But last episode, we learned that Thrawn was setting a trap to kill the Purrgil, and so that trap gets sprung as they planted a bunch of mines in space. So Ahsoka and Huyang take the T6 shuttle out of the Purrgil and go towards Paradise, which they kind of go into the ring around the planet, which I thought was a fun scene as some of the, I guess now Imperial ships, I don't know, Thrawn's ships, follow them in, which we get a little bit of a space dogfighting, which a little bit we've gotten in the series so far has been fun, so I've liked that. But on the ground, we do see Thrawn speaking with Morgan Elsbeth, who's gotten information on Ahsoka, which is when Thrawn learns that she's Anakin's apprentice, as Thrawn has met Anakin before in the novel Thrawn Alliances, and so he knows what Anakin is like and whatnot, which is unpredictable. And so he calls off the pursuit of the T6 shuttle and later gets the Night Sisters to perform some magic to find the location of Ahsoka inside the planet's rings, which, we saw Ahsoka and Huyang in the T6 shuttle kind of land on some of the wreckage stuff inside of the rings. But, the Night Sisters pinpoint Ahsoka and Huyang's location, and so they start bombing the area, flushing them out. But before that, we do see Ezra and Sabine. We see them driving in the little huts with the rock turtle dudes, which are called Naughty. But we see Ezra and Sabine kind of talking a bit about what's happened in, the time since Ezra has been stranded there. Just kind of, Sabine kind of tells them how, the Empire was defeated and what's been going on with Hera and Zeb and whatnot, which it was nice to get a mention of Zeb. But, we see Sabine still not telling the truth, hiding the fact that she went with the enemies to Pridia. But she does talk about training with Ahsoka, which afterwards Ahsoka kind of calls out to her through the Force, and Sabine is able to kind of hear it and kind of speaks back, and so Ahsoka now knows where she is. And then, after Thrawn flushes Ahsoka out, Ahsoka heads for Sabine. But before Ahsoka can get to them, we see Baylan, Shin, and the Raiders they teamed up with in the last episode, about to attack Sabine and Ezra. Which before that we see Baylan talking to Shin, telling Shin to contact Thrawn, but then reveals that he won't be helping her, as her, as he says that her ambition is driving her down a different path than his, and so he'll be going his separate ways. But he gives her one last lesson, telling her that impatience will lead to defeat, which I quite like that moment there. But we do get more from Baylan as we see Ahsoka and Huyang flying towards Sabine and Ezra. Then, they're getting chased by some of Thrawn's ships, and Ahsoka sees Baylan on the ground, so she jumps out of the ship and battles him for a little bit. While we see Sabine and Ezra fighting Shin and the Raiders, which eventually we see Thrawn order Imperial reinforcements for Shin, and so there's a bunch of the night troopers fighting them. But during the fight with Ahsoka and Baylan, we see Baylan kind of get the upper hand again, but Huyang shoots at them, causing causing Baylan to get distracted, which allows Ahsoka to get away, and she takes Balin's hound, and then eventually finds Sabine and Ezra and helps them fight Shin and the Night Troopers. But during this, we see Thrawn back at the, I don't even know what to call it, the temple place. He has like a little map of what's going on in the battle, and he realizes that Balin isn't there. So he pulls the Night Troopers out, which, he kind of then explains it to Morgan Elsbeth, about that decision, as, he says the cargo transfer is now almost complete, and so Ahsoka and the others, won't have enough time anyways to fight him and their forces. So no matter what, they're going to be able to get away without Ahsoka and the others defeating them. But we do see the Night Troopers kind of retreating, and then Shin kind of realizing that and then running away. But the episode ends with Ahsoka reuniting with Sabine and Ezra, as Ezra tells them that he's happy to be going home. Yeah, like I said, I thought the episode was just alright. The second half was more action and just was kind of jumping around a lot of cuts and whatnot. Just took away a lot from those action moments. But the first half had a lot of great moments. Like I said, the start of the episode, I like the moments with Ahsoka kind of in the at the start in the T6 shuttle, kind of training, watching some holograms of Anakin and whatnot, and the little space dogfight scene we got too. Just wish the action scenes in the second half were just better. But yeah. Anyways, my grade for this episode is gonna be a B. So yeah. But that's gonna be it for this one. Next, I'll be reviewing the finale, so you can check that out then. But in the meantime, check out my reviews on the first 6 episodes, and all my other Ahsoka videos and everything else I do. But I've been Star Wars Review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
War. For others, power.
It's been a while. Things have changed.